Are you tired of creating content that falls flat and doesn't resonate with your audience? Do you struggle to find your authentic voice so your messaging feels genuine? And are you ready to take your content creation and your marketing message to the next level? In my last video, I shared how lack of clarity can not only cause problems for your mental, physical, and emotional health, but it can cause problems for your business strategy, which leaks out into your marketing message, the way you communicate with clients, and the way you run sales calls. This vicious cycle keeps you stuck in your business or maybe at a certain income level because you can't properly communicate your marketing message and the transformation that your product or service offers. Today, we're going to dive into a step-by-step approach that is going to help with your content creation as well as getting really clear on your marketing message so you can connect better with your audience. The transformation strategy that I'm about to unveil goes beyond content creation. It's a process that can change how you show up in all areas of your life. So in the last video, I talked about how a lack of clarity not only causes problems for your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health, but it causes problems in your business strategy, which is like the housing of the rest of your strategy. Because underneath your business strategy falls your offers, your marketing, your sales, your prospecting, all the things, right? And then what happens from there? If those things aren't aligned, if they're not clear, then you're not able to make the money or meet the goals that you have for your business revenue. And we also discussed in the last video that when we have this stress, it literally puts stress on our frontal lobe, which is responsible for reasoning and logic. And it just perpetuates a vicious cycle of not being able to make clear decisions in our business. And if we can't make clear decisions in our business, we can't tap into our creativity, and then we can't communicate how our offer, so our product or service, can impact our audience, our potential clients. And then if we get stuck in that enough, it can eat at our confidence and our ability just to show up. Sometimes we'll get so exhausted or feel so overwhelmed and confused on what to do that we end up not even doing anything at all. So today we're diving into a step-by-step process for content creation as well as getting very clear on your marketing message. But before we can do any of those things, we have to start with the transformation story, the transformation that your product or service offers your ideal client. Now let's discuss what a transformation story can do for your business and why it's one of the most important marketing assets that you can have. I like to view the transformation story as a big asset that we can either break down and use for marketing. So whether that is a social post in our email marketing or even use it as a script for a YouTube video or some kind of short form video. But it's also a guiding light for you to come back to and remember the transformation or the process that your client goes to from when they started working with you, what happens in between, and then what happens when they come through your framework. Now, if you sell a product, a tangible product, maybe you're not a coach or you're not a consultant, there is still some kind of transformation or some kind of change that happens. Why else would someone buy something from you, right? They say that the reason why, if you go really big picture, why people buy anything, it's to either become wealthier, to become healthier, or to improve their relationships. Now, as we break down into smaller categories, money can equivalent to having more time because they say time is money. So as you're becoming, you may not think like, oh, how am I helping someone become wealthier if I'm a productivity coach? You're helping them save time so that they can prioritize their time so that they can make more money, so that their relationships can be better, so they're not always, working all the time, etc. Right? So a lot of times our products or services are going to overlap in the way that we can transform our clients' lives in these areas. You may be thinking, but I have a food product. How can my food product create a transformation for my customers? Well, if you think about it, let's say that you have spaghetti sauce, and maybe in your spaghetti sauce line, you also have Alfredo sauce, you have different sauces, right? And what your product can essentially do is make cooking dinner so much easier and stress-free and maybe cost efficient so that people are able to gather around the table and create memories, have conversations. The families can eat dinner together because it would, cost less, or it was just really easy to prepare that meal. And so the transformation that you're able to have there is that you're creating these moments for this family to connect with each other. So it goes up to the relationship. You're enhancing their relationship with the rest of their family. So it does take a little bit of time to really consider, like, okay, how does my product or service fit into one of these categories? And then exactly where does it go into a subcategory? During the group VIP day, I'm going to show you how you could take your transformation story and then break it into different pieces of content so that you are, one, not creating a ton of content and feeling like you had to be all over the place in order to sell your product or service, but then also so that your messaging is cohesive. It is clear every single time. Now remember, sometimes we think, I'm always repeating myself. How often do you see something and think, oh, she already posted that? Not very often, right? Because we have so much information coming to us that we need to hear and see messages over and over again on repeat in order for us to be motivated to buy. In order for us sometimes to even remember, oh my gosh, I left that in my cart, right? I was shopping online and I left that in my cart. Or I really been wanting to work with this coach, and you know what? This is the time for me to take action. So the transformation story is going to be the meat of everything that you do in your marketing and in your sales. Before you can even write your transformation story, you have to get clear. That's why in the last video I talked about clarity. You need to be clear on your expertise, what you can bring to the table, get clear on what your audience wants from you, get clear on the problems that they have and how your solution fits into solving that problem. And I also touched on how we need to be really, really clear the lifestyle that we want to be able to have. Because the last thing that you want is for you to be tied to your business all the time because your business is running you instead of you running your business. So go back to the first video if you need to understand like how clarity fits into the bigger picture of this all. I want you to imagine that in the city called Clarity, there is a house on the street called the Authentic Voice Framework. And inside that house, there are certain people living there. So when you are thinking about your transformation story and you're thinking about any kind of marketing message or even creating offers or getting on a sales call, you have to be aware of certain things that are going on in the mind of your ideal client. And that also is going to fuel your transformation story. So as you may see, like everything is just kind of coming down to one single point, which you can break up into other points. So the first thing I want you to be thinking about is you, which we talked about earlier, the clarity on what you bring. And then you also need to be able to understand your person. And then you need to understand the problems that they're going through. So we may think, why would someone have a problem when it comes to going back to the spaghetti sauce story? How is that a problem for someone? Maybe making dinners is a problem. Maybe they spend way too much money going out to eat because they can't make a quick, easy meal, right? So that is an external problem. And then they have an internal problem. Maybe they feel bad because they're always going out to eat and they're spending so much money going out to eat when they know they should be saving money. That's an internal problem. They're feeling bad, they're feeling guilty, maybe they're feeling shame. And then there's an ecological problem. So what I mean by ecological problem, meaning that they see that this is not good for them, it's not good for someone else, maybe it's not good for the world. That's going to be different for every single product and service and every, niche. So every audience, it's going to be different every time. But those are the three things that they are experiencing. They're experiencing, okay, well, this is a problem for me externally. This is a problem for me internally, even if they don't really voice that. And then this is the problem for me in my place, as my place in the world. And then that's when your solution comes. Then you see how you can fit into this and how you can guide them to solve it through your products or your services. You're not rescuing them, you're not the superhero, but you're providing them with the tools and resources so they can solve that problem and they become a hero of their story. So here's a problem that I've been seeing with marketers is that everyone gets tired of hearing about niching down and all the things. I agree that you do have to have a certain focal point for your marketing message so it lands on the right people, right? So think of it like this. Let's say you sell a product or service and you want to sell it to everyone, but you know that the people that are going to buy it are mothers only. So why would you blend in your messaging things that would resonate with a man that is not going to buy your product? So that's why niching is important. And when I teach about you being a niche as well, it's like that's when you and your niche come together. You're a niche, or you have a niche strategy, so you're different, you're unique, and then their problems or their pains and things that they want are unique as well, and that's when you blend those two together. And so what I see is that marketers want to, or people only focus, entrepreneurs only focus on the surface level. So they only see the external thing that they can solve for their people, and they don't go deep into the internal part. Remember, there's the 3 problems that are going on for your potential client. You don't know what that internal thing is until you have conversations, until you start utilizing the messaging and the marketing prompts that I gave inside the Boost Your Biz Bootcamp. If you're in there yet, those are some of the things that are going to help you extract this information as you're posting on social media. So not only are you boosting your visibility, but you're getting market research. And so what does it look like to go deep with your niche? So I say that, sometimes we choose a niche and it's a surface level niche. We say, I work with women entrepreneurs. I'm guilty of this thing. Sometimes I, forget, like, oh yes, I go deeper with her, right? So let's say someone would say, for instance, there is a lady that's in the Boost Your Biz Bootcamp chat, and she is a pet sitter. So she may be thinking, I take care of people's pets when they're out of town. But there's so much more to that. There's a reason why they want their pet to be taken care of in their home versus being boarded, right, at a kennel. And so when you niche, it's not just selecting the type of person, but then also going deep down and understanding what they feel, what they're thinking, and what they want to know in order to connect with you. So they need to feel something, they need to think something, and they need to know information in order for them to say yes. When you're clear on all of these components and you start bringing them together, you will have identified your unique voice so that you are bridging the gap between you, where your solution is, and your ideal client, where their problem is, and you come together, which leads to a more potent marketing message and makes content creation easy because you're clear and you have a system. And then, of course, this enables your marketing message to do the heavy lifting and really sell for you. Once you have the system in place, you get to rinse and repeat. So you're not constantly putting out new content, or you're not constantly trying to figure out how can I formulate this message. You have a go-to resource to extract different pieces of that story to create content that's going to be relatable and resonates with your ideal client that gets them to buy. Now that you know some of the key elements and the importance of a transformation story, it's time to put it all together. This is where the ball is in your court to take action. You must take ownership of the information you have and then put it into action. You got to execute, right? So I want to invite you to the group VIP day, where I'm going to dive in deeper into these different elements. And at the end of the time together, this half day together, you're going to be able to have a transformation story and key marketing assets so that you can stop stressing about content creation and you can have a marketing message that gets people to say, please, I want to buy from you. So make sure that you sign up and then purchase the upgrade. It's only $7 to access the replays for life. And you're going to want this because as I break down each of the bits and pieces, you're going to want to come back over and over again to fine tune your marketing message as your business grows. And then join me in my next video where I talk about fear of taking action and self-doubt and how we can cut through that so that you are creating momentum in your